Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Today I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'd like to talk about the weather health risk for October 11, 2025. We do keep additional graphics at tpatw.com. We'll start this briefing today by taking a quick look at the surface weather map, and you'll see we do have two rather active areas of frontal activity, one stretching from eastern Montana through Wyoming to southern California. It's warm front really transversing the plains. And then we have an active area of low pressure trying to develop along the southeastern seaboard with a little bit of shower activity stretching all the way from Florida clear on up and through the lower portions of the New England and New York and Pennsylvania. This map is what we call our vitality index, and it's an indication of all of the combined weather elements that can impact human health. And you'll notice as we start moving into these active periods of weather, it becomes more and more filled with some kind of colorful activity, and this is the time to start being very, very selective and to keep a weather health diary and learn what really does impact you. So we have several significant areas of activity across this vitality index, although it almost stretches from coast to coast, but we're really going to start highlighting, looking at this element up the Rockies and much of the plains, and then this small area off the southeastern seaboard. Pressure change is another example of the same kind of issue, with pressure changing rapidly at this time of the year. And so rather than saying almost all of the central and southeastern portions of the country will be suffering some kind of pressure change, which they will be, we're going to concentrate on those areas of most significant change, and that is running from Nebraska across South and North Dakota and picking up portions of extreme eastern Montana and Wyoming. We also have another area of significant falling pressure with that low, and it's mostly coastal from South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. However, depending on your sensitivity, you could get into a little larger area covering most of the Carolinas and almost all of Maryland. This is a time for you to learn about your own sensitivity and which is most significant to you. We have some rising pressure here in northern Michigan and the Michigan Upper Peninsula. Temperature change will also start to become far more significant at this time of the year, and we'll have falling temperatures, and of course that probably translates to snow in the higher elevations, especially through the Intermountain and the Rockies. We do have a little bit of rising temperatures here in eastern Pennsylvania and across New York and into New England. Dew point temperature changes will also be rising and falling dramatically, and you'll notice here we have several areas of extreme interest with falling dew point temperatures here in the extreme west, California, and portions of Nevada. We have rising dew point temperatures up the plains, rising dew point temperatures along the eastern seaboard from the Carolinas all the way through New York and New England. We'll take a look at the vapor pressure map, and it does show a little bit more of interest. And as we move to the southwest, we see a very significant dry area or dry line forming here in Southern California and portions of Arizona. But notice that we still have that sharp influx of vapor in the easternmost sections of Arizona and New Mexico. We also have strong influxes of vapor up here in the northern plains and again along the coast. Instability is another issue that we like to look at for showers and thunder showers, and you can see that area of instability again in the southwest, and it almost seems like we have instability down here in Florida almost all of the time. Again, I'll suggest that we start looking at our measure of oxygen in the atmosphere a little closer than we have been in the past, because the changes now are getting more significant, and we'll want to concentrate on those areas of most significance. And we do have a large area of migraine risk across the west. Note that in California there is a migraine risk It is not in the most extreme or the greatest sectors. However, I would suggest we still have to consider migraine in Southern California, as changes in Southern California are frequently less than in most parts of the rest of the remainder of the country. But there will be a significant risk of migraine here from Nevada into extreme western Wyoming, cutting across the easternmost sections of Oregon, Washington, and almost all of Idaho. Another area, not quite as intense, of migraine risk stretching from Missouri into Michigan. We'll have several areas of asthma and arthritis risk. Again, most of the plains, but the most significant area running from Nebraska across the Dakotas, picking up just a small section of northwestern Minnesota. Another area of significant asthma arthritis risk up the eastern seaboard, with the most extensive areas from northeastern North Carolina across Virginia into Maryland and eastern Pennsylvania. Again, I would mention the migraine risk in Florida. Again, it's not the most intense, but any change in Florida is more significant changes in much of the rest of the country. Thanks for visiting The Patient and the Weather. Comments are appreciated, and if you hurt, tell us where you're located.